You just died. After coming to yourself, you see a goddess. She explains the circumstances of your death, and you just think, yep, I just got isekai'd. She explains that there is another world, a world of wonder and treasures, a world filled with your favorite card game, Yu-Gi-Oh! She presents to you the 7 Millennium Items, the key, the eye, the puzzle, the scale, the staff, the necklace, and the Millennium Ring. She says that you get a little help while wandering this new world and lets you choose one of the items to take with you. Which one do you choose? The puzzle, because that's what Yugi had, or do you want to be dark and evil and take the ring? What if you just wanted to win and be the best there ever was? What is the objective, correct choice? Well, that is exactly what this video is about, so watch till the end to find out. But before we get into the video, I just want to remind everyone to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It really helps me out a lot. To preface this list, I just want to add that all the Millennium items can initiate a so-called shadow game, which is a game where the loser gets a major punishment and sometimes even dies. But since it's a universal ability, I'm not going to take it into account. Okay, let's start at the bottom of the list. The weakest of the weak, the bottom of the barrel. And honestly, I should make a place below 7th for this item, the Millennium Scale. It is useless in pretty much every situation. All it can do is cast detect good and evil. You can hold the scale to someone's heart, which means you need to be close to him, which is a major disadvantage. It then tips in a direction, and the more it tips, the more evil this person is. If it deems you truly evil, it can even devour your soul, killing you. But the scale was used against Bandit King Bakura, who is one of the most evil persons in the whole Yu-Gi-Oh universe, where it just malfunctioned and tipped back and forth. So the only thing it can do, it can't even do properly. Literally a piece of garbage, in my opinion. Next up is another Millennium item which at least somewhat works as intended, the Millennium Necklace. It is worn by Ishizu Ishtar, and it can look into the distant past as well as future. And if you're like me, you thought, damn, that sounds insane. But in reality, looking into the future only partially works. In the wiki it says that the future can be changed, but only by someone else wearing a Millennium item. But this also works by proxy, as shown in Ishtar's duel against Kaiba, where a vision of the Millennium Rod compels Kaiba to summon Blue Eyes White Dragon instead of Obelisk, winning him the duel. So looking into the past works, but the future is somewhat iffy, depending on the opponent. Not as terrible as the scale, but still too fallible to be further up. There's a large gap between the necklace and the next item in terms of power, but this one at least does what it's supposed to do. The Millennium Ring. Its wearer, Bakura, while being considered strong, it is not because of the Millennium Ring, but because of what is contained in the ring, since it holds a fragment of the soul of Zorg, as well as Bandit King Bakura. The ring's power is very unique, since it acts as a compass and guides its wearer to whatever he seeks. By pointing in a direction with one of its needles, it can even find non-physical things, like dark spirits and mystical powers, as well as other Millennium items. This one doesn't have the raw power that some other items do, but with some tricks you can overpower some stronger opponents. But that requires its user to think carefully about the usage of this item. And that is not what this is about. It's just about the raw power of the items. In addition, it can also seal the soul of others into objects, but this ability is only vaguely explained. In the manga, in chapter 50, Bakura first acquired the ring and used it to seal the soul of his gym teacher into a piece of his board game. And in episode 13 of the anime, Dark Bakura uses it again to seal the souls of Yugi and his friends into their respective favorite cards. While this is only speculation, it seems to activate this ability, you either A, need to lose a shadow game against the ring, or B, be in the vicinity of the one wearing it. As I said, there's very little information on this item's second ability, but even if it works like I described it, it still doesn't hold up to the other items. Next up on the list is the Millennium Key. It is only this low on the list because the information on this item is very limited. The key allows its wielder to enter the soul of the other person, seemingly just by activating it and being in the vicinity of the other person. You then enter their soul room, which is a depiction of someone's soul. In this room you can see everything about this person. Things they know, and even things they do not know. But you can also redecorate this room as you wish, which means you can make someone your puppet, let them forget things, or even plant new memories. Basically, it's a form of mind control. It has some other powers, but these are anime only, so I won't consider them canon. That is also the extent of our knowledge of this item. Maybe if it was more explored, I would put it higher up, but since this is all we know, it stays at this spot. And you already know what the next item is. It's the Millennium Rod. Its wielder, Yami Marik, is one of the main antagonists of the series. It's just a juiced up version of the Millennium Key. It can essentially turn someone into a mind slave, as well as use mind manipulation. This includes looking into someone's memories, tricking the mind into what the owner wants, allowing the owner to see and hear everything they do, and rendering people unconscious. You can also telepathically communicate with others. Its only downside is that its powers do not affect people connected to the Millennium Items, which is a pretty major downside in my opinion. So here we are at the top, the peak of the champions, the greatest of the great, the best Millennium Items. And there are only two remaining, the Millennium Eye and the Millennium Puzzle. But which one is stronger? Well, you would think, bro, of course it's the Millennium Puzzle. But maybe, just maybe, something likes to get overlooked about the Millennium Eye. So let's cover the powers of the two items and then make a decision. First, the Millennium Eye. It's the only item that requires its users to remove parts of his body. Pegasus as well as Aknodin wore it in their left eye, removing their real one. As you already know, the eye can read any opponent's mind. This is especially useful when dueling, since you can basically cheat. The Millennium Puzzle, on the other hand, is all around a weird item. It grants its owner incredible skill at strategy, as well as containing the soul of Pharaoh Atem, aka Yami Yugi. It can even interfere with the power of other Millennium items, and if at full power, it can repel the seal of Orichalcos. The wiki also states that the item increases one's luck, which is hard to confirm, but Yugi does seem to draw what he needs more often than not. Some smaller powers include the ability to communicate with dual monsters and sensing impending danger. In comparison, these two items don't even look like they belong at the top of the list, but rather somewhere in the middle. But there's one fact that catapults both of these to the upper echelon. I would even go as far as to consider both of these not even on the same list as all of the other items. I think I built up enough tension. The reason why both of these items' power level is off the charts is because they both grant a wish. Yes, you heard that right. The Millennium Eye as well as the Millennium Puzzle both grant its owner one singular wish, and this doesn't seem to be limited in any capacity. Well, I never heard Yugioh or Pegasus having a wish granted. Then listen closely. Pegasus wished to see his beloved Cecilia again, which he did, but only for a few moments. As you can see, wishes are a fickle thing, but whether the eye was an evil genie or if Pegasus just did not specify his wish precisely enough, we do not know. But what we do know is that Yugi's wish came true. Yes, that is right, Yugi had a wish granted at the very start of the show. Whoever solves this puzzle shall have his dearest wish granted. This is what is inscribed on the Millennium item, and Yugi wished to make true friends, which he did when he tried to protect Joey and Tristan from Trudge. But which one ranks above the other? Despite getting some downvotes in the comments about this, putting the Millennium Puzzle above the Millennium Eye just seems wrong. And here's why. Firstly, the Millennium Eye can grant one wish per wearer, which just requires the sacrifice of one eyeball, whereas the Millennium Puzzle has to be solved, which just happened once in the past 3000 years. The Millennium Puzzle doesn't really have any special ability in terms of non-shadow game related things, whereas the Millennium Eye, you can easily overpower any opponent in any situation. And thirdly, the Millennium Puzzle, despite being the main Millennium item, is often only vaguely explained in terms of power. What if Pharaoh Atem did not seal himself in the puzzle? What would it do then? Not a lot, in my opinion. Getting a better luck stat may be good if you actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! But you know what is even better than that? Literally reading your opponent's mind at all times and knowing his every move. And there you have it. This is only my opinion. and I may have missed some facts, I still think that this is the correct way to scale these items. And I'm sure I will get some crybabies in the comments saying, no way the Millennium Eye is better than the Millennium Puzzle. But just by comparing the facts, it seems like a no-brainer. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching and have a good day. Bye.